This is James Lupton, delighted to be joined today with Giovanni Cabrera. Giovanni, how are you?
Doing amazing, brother. Just got back from the gym just a little bit ago. Feeling amazing. Excited about the future.
Absolutely, a big future ahead of you. We'll get on to that. First, I want to talk about the past. So you started boxing about the age of 16 years old, and within just 3 years, you had won the Chicago Golden Gloves. Talk to me a little bit about your amateur career and how quick it went for you.
Yeah, my amateur career was so quick, man. I won the Golden Gloves, and just after a few years of boxing, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to turn pro. So I decided to move to LA at 19. And funny enough, I was training at Wildcard, but I was training there as an amateur. I lived alone. Nobody really knew who I was at the time, and rightfully so. I knew that I wasn't ready to turn pro quite yet, so my journey then led me to Mexico, to León, Guanajuato, which is where my father's from, where my father was born. And I became champion of León in 2015, champion of Guanajuato, the state championship regional, and then I won a bronze at the national Olympic tournament. After completing that, I said, okay, that was my chance. I said one more chance. I went to the Olympic trials here in the U.S. for the Rio Olympics, and I lost in the semifinal. They actually read the decision wrong on my fight. I was on my way back to Chicago on the airplane. I look at the brackets, and they had me advancing. So yeah, really, really funny set of circumstances. But I said, hey, destiny is destiny. It couldn't happen any other way. And I decided to come back to the U.S. to Chicago to turn pro.
You mentioned as an amateur, you went over to Mexico to the birthplace of your father, and you became champion there as well. So, what did that mean to you?
It meant everything because I knew that boxing in Chicago, I would always go to the best gyms on the South Side, and people would be like, "Who the hell is this kid?" Thinking that he's gonna come in here asking for sparring. They're like this little white boy. Uh, but it was always hilarious. It was always a shock when I had some flavor and I could box and I had a good, okay jab and some good footwork and some good reflexes. That was a big shock. So I love that, man. So that was my upbringing of kind of having like a slicker style, because we had some bad dudes, some badass kids in Chicago, and yeah, I had to develop that style. So I always had that, but what I needed, what meant so great going back to Leon to Mexico is getting that gritty toughness that maybe I had kind of not looked at because I got used to moving and not getting hit. So going back to my roots, going back to that Mexican style of just taking one and delivering one, it was part of like what forged me to be a more well-rounded fighter.
Do you feel those experiences and those two different styles of fighting has helped you in the professional ranks?
Absolutely, because when you experience a different style and you can deal with it, like you feel confident. Some people have never fought southpaws, right? And that's where I am their nightmare. I have one of the, I think a lot of people have said that I have a unique style, a style that really kind of breaks all the rules. If you're not used to a southpaw on top of that, you're gonna be dreaming up ways to beat me that don't exist, I believe.
You mentioned before you went to Mexico as an amateur using the Wildcard gym. You are back there now, I believe. Freddie Roach. Just talk to me a little bit about training alongside with in the same gym as Freddie and what it's like to have his expertise there in hand.
It's a dream come true. I've always dreamed of being at the Wildcard gym with Freddie. Like Manny Pacquiao or some of the great fighters that he's trained. Growing up, Pacquiao was one of my idols. I was lucky enough to be part of his last training camp when he fought Earl Spence, went over 65 rounds with him. But as far as having Freddie's expertise, it's incredible because boxing is the only sport in the world where you right now can decide, having no experience at all, you're going to say, hey, I'm a professional trainer. And so a boxer can do the same too, and that's why some people get seriously hurt. So the information has been diluted. Freddie Roach comes from one of the great old masters of boxing, Eddie Futch. So you get all these people growing up telling you about boxing, telling you about the business, what you should do, how you should fight, where you should stand, what punches to throw. And all of them is always a doubt in your mind because you're like, how do they really know? They're not better than me, so how could they? But somehow you have to put the faith in whoever's telling you. I know for a fact, Freddie Roach, when he says something, it's the exact right thing to do. I have no doubts in anything that he says in terms of strategy or boxing. So it's really, getting away all the smoke and mirrors when it comes to boxing knowledge. I'm like, okay, some things were right that other people had said, but now I know for a fact because Freddie said it.
Absolutely,
Pretty
you can't fault his expertise at all. You mentioned Manny Pacquiao there. You mentioned you worked with Manny in his last camp for Errol Spence Jr. Was it 65 rounds you said you'd done together?
at least.
So talk to me about that experience. Like you say, he was your idol, somebody you looked up to, somebody who's been in the game for a long time, multi-weight world champion. What was it like to work alongside him and learn from him?
It was really amazing, just that intensity, that energy in the ring. I felt it. And I was so afraid to spar him that I had no room to think. And I think when you stop all thinking, that's when you really get into the flow state. And some people get shy, some people do worse. I believe that I've always rose to the occasion. That's why my record speaks for itself. I fought more undefeated fighters than any boxing prospect. I mean, take your favorite fighter, any fighter in the history of boxing, and look at their first 20 fights. None of them fought 7 undefeated fighters. And yeah, so I believe that, it's all about confidence. It's also about mastering your fear because, every man bleeds, you know, every man bleeds. And once I hit Manny a couple times, I was like, holy shit, I just hit Manny Pacquiao. So it just showed me, to always be humble, always respect everybody, but everybody can be hit. No one's indestructible, and no champion is either. So that's why they always get humbled when they believe otherwise. That's when they get humbled.
You mentioned there when you hit Manny a couple of times, you thought, "Oh shit, he's just another human being. Ultimately, 2 legs, 2 arms. He's just another man in front of me." Was there a moment sort of to reverse that where you thought, "Oh shit, Manny Pacquiao's just done this to me or done that to me," that you hadn't
Oh
experienced
no,
before?
absolutely. On the same level where I said, I mean, it gave me just like a sliver of hope that I could, survive the rounds with him. That's really what it did. But as where before, I'm like, holy shit, I'm coming in here with a legend. He's gonna dance around my ass. But no, many times I was like, I've studied Manny Pacquiao because he was a southpaw, so he's one of the great southpaws that inspired my career. But a couple times I see him slip his head, slip his head, slip his head. I'm like, oh shit, here comes the left hand. And as I was finishing that thought, boom, right in the face, left hand. And then I look and he's all the way to the side of me. So that shit was like really surreal. It was just completely surreal, man.
Absolutely. You mentioned, you fought 7 undefeated fighters. You're 21-0 at the moment. Probably the most well-known on your record is Gabe Flores Jr., one of your recent wins. You are now in a very, very healthy position with the IBF. You are in line for a title eliminator. There's talk of Maxi Hughes, but your manager seems to feel there's no talks been going on. She's waiting to hear back. Just give us an update on that. Where are we with that?
Maxi, people have been bringing up my name to a lot of big names and a lot of big fights. So I'm extremely grateful that finally, it's time, man. They cannot deny it any longer. I think I'm like the problem they wish they just lost or went away. But slowly but surely, I'm creeping up on the rankings, and everyone's starting to hope that I lose. But no, I'm coming, man. I'm coming, and I'm really excited. Maxi called me out. And I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, really? Okay, let's go. I thought nobody wanted to fight me. Maxi is a badass. I've seen a lot of his fights. This guy has he's skilled. He's skilled and he's got a tank. He's been in some tough fights. It's gonna be a freaking war, man. It's gonna be an action-packed fight, and I love this fight. I don't want to be a marketed subject. I don't want to be a pop song that a company is selling to people. I want to be known as a real champion, and I know Maxi does too. So making a great fight, fighting someone of my caliber and me fighting someone of his caliber is going to be fireworks, man. So my management is all green lit. We want the fight. He wants to fight. He messaged me. He talked to my managers. Everybody wants to fight. Everybody from Matchroom, last I heard, was well on the way to making it happen. I think they're just taking their sweet ass time. Let's make it happen, man. Like this is I don't see any other fight that makes sense for Maxi, and neither for me at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, you're in the lightweight division. It's a stacked division at the top end there. You got, your Devon Haynes. You got your, obviously, it looks like he's fighting Lomachenko, but we'll come on to that in a moment. You got your Ryan Garcia, who's potentially fighting Javonte Tank Davis. For yourself, when do you see yourself getting in that mix with these household names?
Well, I don't think they're in a rush to get in mix with anybody their own height or taller. Nah, I'm just kidding. But come on, man. I respect them. They're all really good champions. They're all really good champions. But hey, man, none of them have fought each other. And like the media has the nerve to say the four kings. I'm like, the four kings of Cap, man. Four kings of Cap. Come on, man. They're gonna compare themselves to Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, Tommy Hitman Hearns, and Marvin Hagler when none of them have fought each other. That's insane, man. And that's why I pride myself on my record, because I am more in line with their lineage, with their tradition of boxing than any of the current champions. So I think I want to beat Maxi Hughes. I'm not looking past Maxi Hughes. Maxi Hughes is IBO world champion, and he's a fucking beast. So this fight is very important to me. But man, after this fight, I think I'm ready. Maybe one more. If they want me to prove it one more time, well, I have no problem doing it again. But I'm ready for a title. I think the best fight. I mean, the fight that would make most money, I'm pretty sure would be Ryan Garcia. So that's the fight that I would want the most. But the real fight that would make my legacy great would be to fight Javonte Davis. I'm in it to be a great champion. I want the big bad wolf. I'm not here to dance around anybody. I think he's the best. He's the most dangerous puncher in the division, and that's the only thing I'm interested in.
Absolutely. Just finally, a couple of predictions on those fights I mentioned. So first of all, Javonte Davis and Ryan Garcia. Who wins that and why, in your opinion?
I think from what I've seen, Ryan Garcia is fast. He's got power, and he's pretty skilled. But I've seen him with smaller guys be made feel very uncomfortable. And someone that has a higher volume, someone that has good defense, someone that has clever timing. I don't think he's fought anybody of that caliber. I think Javonte Davis he's a real champ. He's got that fire, he's got that dog in him, and he's willing to take guys out. So my prediction is that Javonte wins, man. I think he wins. I think but here's something that we're not factoring in. I believe Javonte Davis is 5'6", 5'6", and Ryan Garcia is 5'10". What's up with these? It's like nobody wants to fight anybody their height or size. It's pretty silly, but I think the size might be a big factor in Gervante's reach, but I don't really see a way that Ryan Garcia is outpunching Gervonta Davis or has the boxing skills to be on his bicycle for that long. He does that shoulder roll thing, which is very limited to a fighter who has good footwork and knows how to step around. And Gervonta can hurt you, as we saw with Rolly. You mess up for 1 second, you're getting your ass knocked down. So I think Gervonta is the more disciplined fighter. I think he takes it.
And then Devon Haney and Vasily Lomachenko. Who wins and why?
I would have favored Lomachenko in his prime. I think he's way more skilled, but I think size is a huge factor. Size and age is a huge factor. Usually a bigger, like if two good guys fight each other, the bigger good guy wins, right? As they say. But Lomachenko's skills are insane. But at this point in his age, I don't know. I think the youth is on Devon Haney's side. But then again, Lomachenko's got those southpaw skills and those southpaw tricks. But we I don't know. We've seen a little bit of stamina problems. I think age might just be catching up with Lomachenko a little bit. But yeah, who knows? I think I favor slightly Devon Haynes, just on size, because reach is everything.
Fantastic. Well, Giovanni, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today, and all the best of luck with your fight, Maxi Hughes, if it materializes.
Thank you, brother.